Aloha! Well, here we are at the final evening with the Aloha class of governors. During the course of the week, many of you have commented on how wonderful this event has been and how it has created tremendous opportunities for you to connect with each other, to make new friends, to learn from each other, and to imagine new ways to grow Rotary. While the theme and the emphases are mine, there is an important team that is responsible for bringing that to life at the International Assembly. And that team is the Rotary International staff. I know that many of the staff are in the room tonight, and many more are back at the offices around the world, and all of them have worked together to make this year's International Assembly the very best ever. I would like for the General Secretary, John Huco, and all of the Rotary International staff in the room to stand up. Look at the back, look at the back. And of course, you can see them behind me as well. I would like to show my appreciation to the Learning and Development team for their curriculum design to support our learning objectives. They displayed great creativity in making my vision come to life in so many ways, like the membership match game show. The in-house design team worked very closely with us on the theme, the logo, and the scarf. Gay's scarf is both a personal reflection of her love for flowers and a tribute to our convention in Honolulu. Thank you for your work. Thank you to the club and district support teams. They have been with you each step of the way through your training and will continue to be there for you throughout your year as governor. The programs for Young Leaders staff collaborated with the Learning and Development team and our Assembly Planning Committee to develop the first Rotaract program at the International Assembly. Thank you to the interpretation team for who have made the program accessible to all the district governors-elect partners and Rotaractors, and for promoting more interactions across cultures in the breakout rooms. Thank you to the meetings and events team, who are the backbone of our operations here. from registration and housing through transportation, financial operations, publications, and incredibly intricate logistics. They create the environment for our program. And deep behind the scenes is the stage production team. And I'd like to bring them out so that we can show our appreciation for the quality of the general sessions this year. On the line. This is a partial list of all the staff who shared their talent and effort and imagination to create this event for you. Many other teams have made contributions as well, and I would like to personally thank each and every one of the staff for their dedication, their imagination, and above all, their commitment to excellence. I also want to thank our assembly moderators, Holger and Susanna Kanak, the assistant moderators, Jennifer Jones and Nick Krajicic, the seminar trainers, Nikki Scott and Barney Callahan, our Rotary moderator, Elise Lynn, and all of the training leaders and the partner discussion facilitators, the team of about 75 people who helped make the breakout sessions possible. Training leaders and partners, I see you, Barney Callahan, get up now. Training leaders and partners, stay upstanding. Seminar trainers, I want to thank the sergeants at arms under the leadership of Jawahar and Padma Vadlamani. And Gay and I have a special thanks to our aides, Larry and Jill Lunsford. I guarantee you, this is an impossible job to have without dedicated support like Larry and Jill, dedicated supporters like Larry and Jill. And I appreciate their wisdom, which I follow most of the time, their knowledge, their dedication, their commitment, and we appreciate most of all their patience. On Monday morning, I walked onto this stage and talked to you about our journey to San Diego and the journey we will take together once we leave. Tonight, it is time to embark on the next stage of that journey. In just a few hours, we are all going to leave San Diego. now that the rain has stopped. With more knowledge, more confidence, and more inspiration than we had when we arrived. We are connected now in a way that we were not when we arrived last Sunday. And as we have spoken this week about the ways that Rotary connects the world, I remind you that all of us are sitting at this moment in the very epicenter of Rotary, the nexus of that global network of connection. I want you to think for just a moment about the number of Rotarians and Rotaractors in your district. How many members in how many clubs will you be responsible for on July 1st? How many members will you be setting forth to educate, motivate, inspire, and connect? Now I want you to look around you at your 524 fellow district governors-elect, all of whom are setting forth to do the same thing. Some will lead larger districts, some will lead smaller ones. But together, we who are in this room tonight are responsible for the administration of an organization of 1.2 million inspired women and men who have come to Rotary with the goal of building a better world. And that might seem like a daunting task until you understand the power of connection. Because it is the power of connection that will allow all of us to perform the task that we have laid out for ourselves next year. Primary among those tasks is the one goal for which we have driven over the last 30 years, the eradication of polio. It is the goal that has shaped us as an organization, as it has shaped the landscape of public health across the globe. The first time I took an active role in eradicating polio was in January of 1998, exactly 21 years ago. The Council on Legislation was in Delhi, India that year. I was the representative from my district. And after the council, there was an opportunity for all of us to participate in a national immunization day. We went from immunization station to immunization station, 4 stations in all, starting at 8 o'clock in the morning and ending at 1 in the afternoon. Each station immunized about 400 children over the course of those 5 hours. Each one was an operation in itself, with local healthcare workers, Rotarians and their families, volunteers, and government agencies all playing a role. Over the course of the day, I'll be honest with you, I did not have the overwhelming response to that National Immunization Day that many Rotarians have had. 400 children immunized per station? Well, even my Rotary Club of Decatur could immunize 400 children. It just did not seem that epic to me. 400 children times 4 stations. It was barely a drop in the bucket in a country the size of India. But when we returned to the Hyatt Hotel that evening, a local Rotarian told me that there were 3,000 of those immunization stations around Delhi. $3,000? Even I can figure that math. That was 1.2 million children. About as many as there were Rotarians in the world. And it was not just in Delhi. There were another few thousand of those stations in Mumbai, and thousands in Kolkata and Chennai, and hundreds in Jaipur and Hyderabad and Bangalore and Surat and Pune and every other major city in India. And there were immunization stations in the towns on the slopes of the Himalayas and in the villages along the shores of the Bay of Bengal. And when you add it all together, 150 million children, 150 million children, that's a lot of zeros, were immunized in that 5-hour period. And all of those 150 million children were brought by a parent or an aunt or an older sibling or a grandparent or some other family member. All of those 150 million children were vaccinated by a health worker or a volunteer or a Rotarian. Altogether, an estimated 250 million people, 250 million people, took part in that National Immunization Day. It was only slightly less than the entire population of the United States at that time. Every single person had taken time from their day to participate in that event to keep the children of India safe from polio. It took my breath away. My friends, if at any point in the past week you thought to yourself, the goals that have been set for me are too high, they are too ambitious, they are beyond what I can do, I want you to remember that National Immunization Day. And I want you to remember that you are not going to do it alone. We are Rotarians, Rotaractors, and supportive members of the family of Rotary. And we are going to harness the power of connection just as our organization has been doing now for almost 114 years ahead. In the year ahead, we will connect to grow Rotary. Together, we will support and encourage clubs to take an organized, strategic approach to membership attraction and engagement, with a membership committee in every club that methodically considers not only their own list of friends, but also the list of positions in their communities, to see which positions might be held by individuals with the skill, the talent, and the character to strengthen Rotary, and the potential to grow into Rotary leaders. Together, we will also form new clubs, new model clubs, providing different meeting experiences and engaging service opportunities, and new clubs, not just where there is no Rotary, but in areas where Rotary is already serving well. We will connect to bring families closer to Rotary. Together, we will make the family of Rotary a family that embraces all of its generations. We will connect to build a new generation of Rotary leaders, one that is able to balance the demands of Rotary office with professional and family commitments without being pressured to put in more time than a volunteer position should ever demand. Together, we want to see a Rotary where no one is ever asked to choose between being a good mother, father, professional, manager, or employee, and being a good Rotarian. Rotary should enrich our lives, not become our lives. And together, we will connect Rotary to the world through the ties we have and the goals we share with the United Nations. There are so many parallels between the work we already do through our areas of focus and the work of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. While those goals are indeed incredibly ambitious, they are like any other ambitious goal we have ever undertaken in Rotary or anywhere else. Alone, we cannot bring universal literacy or create gender equality or eradicate polio. But together, of course we can. Throughout this week, we have spent together, the culmination of so much planning, ambition, and hope. My thoughts have gone again and again to my own parents and to the values and lessons I inherited from them. I grew up on a farm outside a tiny town in southern Illinois, a town so small that the elementary school I attended had only 4 classrooms. In a town like that, the academic expectations were not always the highest. Most of the students did not go on to college. But it was my good fortune that when I arrived at high school, the teacher standing by the blackboard in my English class had the highest of expectations and the highest of standards. Because the teacher standing by the blackboard in a classroom painted bright pink was my own mother. I thought of her as I wrote my remarks for this evening, feeling her looking over my shoulder and saying, "Mark, that is a dependent clause. It needs a that and not a which." I thought of the passion with which she taught a room full of farmers' children literature and grammar, even though most of them would never need to know the difference between a gerund and an appositive phrase again. She taught us Shakespeare, she taught us modern literature, and one of my most vivid memories is her standing in front of the blackboard delivering dramatic readings of the poetry we were learning in her clear radio voice, enunciating to the back of the room. And thinking of that, and what I wanted to say at the end of today, I remembered one poem that you might also have studied if you had an English teacher as good as mine was. It is called Auguries of Innocence by William Blake. In my mind, the first 4 lines are the key to the poem, and they read as follows. To see a world in a grain of sand and a heaven in a wild flower, hold infinity in the palm of your hand and eternity in an hour. The lesson is one we would all do well to take into our year of leadership in Rotary. Of course, we cannot literally see the world in just a tiny grain of sand, but a glimpse of something tiny can provoke you to imagine something very big. It takes just one small inspiration to create something much larger. Think of the modest idea Paul Harris had of starting a social network in Chicago over a century ago. I can see heaven in a wildflower. We can picture in our minds a better and more beautiful world. If we can envision lasting change in ourselves, we can also envision lasting change in our communities across the globe. Because a wildflower is a piece of heaven. We are one small piece of our communities, and in Rotary, working together, we have shown that the whole can be greater than the sum of its parts. Now you might ask, how can you hold infinity in the palm of your hand? Is that not a contradiction? By its nature, infinity is endless, but the palm of your hand is not. But in reality, we know that to achieve anything of substance, we need to embrace the constraints we face. Your term in office as district governors lasts only 1 year. Yet that constraint can be empowering if you bring all of your creativity to the role and plan to leave a legacy that will last long into the future. As President Barry told us earlier this evening, we have 1 year to focus on the work of our clubs, the work of Rotary, the work that inspires us, the work that connects the world. My friends, Gay and I wish you safe travels home. And I wish you all a year of inspiration, of commitment, and of strength. A year of strong effort and steady progress. A year of growing Rotary in your part of this wonderful world. A year in which we all put service above self and build the many ways that Rotary connects the world.